afternoon, everyone. Before I get started with the presentation, I will give you a brief background on O'Hare and Midway International Airports. The Chicago Department of Aviation oversees both O'Hare and Midway International. Between the two airports, we serve over 100 million passengers every year. And we're one of over just under 11 airports in the world that have that type of air traffic volume. So we're home to 3 hub carriers: American, United, and Southwest. We have, this past year, we had just over 900,000 flights. And we also, in terms of cargo, we handle nearly 2 million tons of cargo. That ranks us top 20 in the world. Along with that, with that type of operation, we're consistently upgrading our infrastructure, and in this new phase, we're going to add additional gates. So I'll get started on the presentation. So I'll go over various aspects of CDA that touch on the capital program. Obviously, up top, contracting. We procure through the Chicago Department of Procurement, and we partner with other city agencies to, in terms of workforce development and capacity building. CDA contracting. I mentioned earlier, CDA, Chicago Department of Aviation, partners with DPS to promote inclusion of all business sizes. And we work closely with our assist agencies to build capacity locally. Commitment to capacity. O'Hare 21 will create tens of thousands of new jobs. So along with those jobs, we host, in order to promote those jobs, we team up with our assist agencies, and we host citywide job fairs in 2008. 2018, we hosted 5 citywide job fairs aimed at attracting job seekers in the areas of architect, engineering, IT, hospitality, and much more. Workforce development. Last year, we had over 30 student interns that included from the high school through college, so from the Chicago Public Schools, city colleges, and that was through One Summer Chicago as well. And we work with various community agencies to partner and get O'Hare residents to work at the airport. Among those are Skills for Chicago, and then Chicago Women in Trades, and the North Lawndale Employment Network, Safer Foundation as well. Over the next decade, we estimate over $2 billion in contracts will be awarded to M&W firms for design, construction, and other professional services. For this next phase of gate expansion, we're going to focus on CMRs to help us drive workforce and economic inclusion efforts. We'll also commit to increasing opportunities for small, diverse local firms through several bid incentives, including SBI and MBI initiatives. Just a little bit of background on our legacy programs at O'Hare and our upcoming programs that were funded through the lease agreement last spring. So O'Hare 21 is what we call our capital program. 5 different components. I'll start from the right to left. So earlier this year, we broke ground on Terminal 5 civil package. So that's the start of that concourse, the expansion. We're going to spend over $1.2 billion over the next 15 years in and around Terminal 5. We're going to introduce a lot more domestic activity to that facility. So over the next 15 years, we have a whole host of projects that will aim at improving the passenger experience there. The next category is the terminal area plan. The crown jewel being, or the key component of that program being the O'Hare Global Terminal and the O'Hare Global Concourse. In addition, we'll build 2 satellite concourses to the west. And that, under the new lease agreement, about 6.1 billion of that is aimed at portions of this terminal area to the west, building those additional gates. The next program is our capital improvement. About 2.4 billion of that, of the 8.5 billion of the lease agreement is slated for our capital improvement program. And those projects range from anywhere from several hundred thousand to 20 to 30 million in construction costs, direct construction costs. So, that program is aimed at rehabilitating our existing assets. So assets, airfield assets, facility assets, and anything not related to Terminal 2. The next group or the next category is the O'Hare Modernization Program. That's our legacy program. As part of this new lease agreement, we funded the 9-ride extension, which is the final component, remaining to be funded as part of the OMP. We're currently under construction for the 9th center. It'll be our 4th and final new runway, and then the 9-ride extension will complete the O'Hare Modernization Program. I believe we spent over $6 billion, just over $6 billion to date on that program. The next category is hotel development. The redevelopment of the existing Hilton and 2 new planned hotels under the lease agreement that was signed last spring. Those hotels are not funded. We're currently, we took over the hotel. It's a slightly different business model, so once we prove profitability to our airline partners, we'll go ahead and get those funded. So it'll be the renovation of the existing Hilton in Terminal 1, 2, and 3, and then a new hotel in the Terminal 5 campus. Here's an aerial of what we envision the campus to look like, our Midfield campus. So mentioned the construction of a new O'Hare Global Terminal. That is centered right here, right along the footprint of Terminal 2. We'll build 2 additional satellite concourses, Satellite Concourse 1 and 2 in this first phase. We have some land reserved for future expansion. If we hit the triggers in the lease agreement, we'll be able to build out to the west, and that was not costed as part of the 8.5 billion. Terminal 5 aerial here shows what the extension would look like to the east, additional pavement, new covered parking, hotel, and then some modifications in the Terminal 4, mainly to expand passenger security checkpoint, add additional concession space, and an additional club lounge. Some amenities that are needed as we introduce that domestic passenger profile. Delta will occupy this section of the facility, so we'll also see some improvements there as we introduce that domestic passenger profile. Western development, in this first phase, we're going to have employee passenger, employee parking and processing for employees as well too out here. So it'll be a parking garage and some sort of employee screening. The tollway is going to bring access into the west, so that's separate, but we definitely need to coordinate with that agency. Here's a close-up view of the O'Hare Global Terminal and Concourse. Some of the features that are planned as part of the design are natural light-filled upper level arrivals hall to welcome international passengers, and then hassle-free connections for arriving passengers transferring onward to the domestic flights in Terminal 1 and 3. So Terminal 1 will be retained by United, and then Terminal 3 will be American, and they'll serve their domestic fleet on both of those terminals, respective terminals. An overview of the satellite concourses. These are the first to be built as part of the lease agreement. We are not allowed to go gate negative, so every additional gate that we build, we always have to go gate positive or gate neutral to get us to where we can tear down Terminal 2. So we build additional chairs in order for us to tear down portions of Terminal 2 as we build the global terminal and global concourse. Satellite Concourse 1 will have the international capacity, so we'll have a server corridor that will get us back to the FIS in the O'Hare Global Terminal. This is an updated rendering of Terminal 5, the extension to the east. Shows the capability to add Mars gates, so it's multiple aircraft ramp positions. What that allows us to do is to park 2 narrow-body jets and a combination of one large body in the same position, so we don't ever lose gates. We add more gates, or we better utilize the gate frontage. We'll also add additional concession space in the terminal here as well, and it'll be a more expanded hallway as opposed to the narrow corridors that we see in the existing facility. This slide shows the major components in the timeline. So in 2018, we opened the L Concourse 5-gate extension that was undertaken by American, transferred back to the city. It was a line lease, so it was transferred back to the city once we signed the new lease agreement last spring. Completion of runway 9 Center, 27 Center in November of 2020. So that'll be the 4th and final runway of the OMP. Shortly thereafter, we're going to add those 10 new gates in the previous rendering that I showed. The completion of 9 right, which is the final component of OMP, followed by a parking garage. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to introduce some more of that domestic passenger profile. The Western employee parking screening, that's slated for 2023, and then the satellite 1, 2. Also do some line side improvements as we introduce more, some more of that domestic passengers in and around Terminal 5. And then finally, in 2028, 2029, we envision that we will complete the O'Hare Global Terminal and Global Concourse. So that'll be the completion of the first phase of the gate expansion. Another slide that highlights the expansion, the different components when they'll come on as we get to 2028. But obviously, the challenges here are that we're going to need to work closely with our airline partners so that we don't interrupt operations. Sustainability. We have lead initiatives for the global terminal and global concourses along with the satellites, Terminal 5 as well. So the SAM manual is obviously one of those. In addition to the lead aspirations that we have, we'll apply the Sustainable Airport Manual to all the projects for the gates as well too. This was the first we developed the first sustainable airport manual, O'Hare did, back in 2009. The manual will get a revision later on this year, and O'Hare will once again host the Sustainable Airport Conference. We hosted that conference when we first undertook the initiative of the SAM, or the Sustainable Airport Manual. For years it went away to other airports, and now we're hosting it back this year. Key O'Hare procurements. In order to build the gate expansion and the ongoing CIP work, we have some key procurements. The design competition we had the design competition earlier this year, conclude earlier this year, so the winning team was Studio RD. We're hoping to get them under contract fairly soon, and then we will negotiate with the second. So one of the remaining four will get to design the satellite concourses. Studio RD will design the global terminal and global concourse. Team number 2 will design the satellite concourse 1 and 2. Another key procurement is construction management services. Earlier in the presentation, I highlighted the CMR CMR delivery method. So that is aimed at delivering the gates and the work associated with the gates, both in Terminal 5, OGT, and OGC. This contract is CMA, Construction Management Agency. We anticipate that this contract will be advertised shortly, second quarter, and then hopefully in third quarter we can get an award. This contract will, the CMA will oversee the CIP component of the $8.5 billion, the smaller projects, and some of the, we envision that they'll also oversee some of the enabling work for the tech. It's M&W, and right now we currently envision 2 categories, five successful respondents in each category, target market being one of them, and then non-target market M&W. The duration is 5 years. O'Hare CIP, that's the 2.4 billion thereabouts. One of the first projects is the Ring and Utility Tunnel repairs. This is a key project as we built the global concourse, global terminal, and even the satellite concourses. We need to make repairs to our H&R plant and the Ring and Utility Tunnel to feed the utilities out to those new facilities. Anticipated advertisement date of third quarter. We are still, since there are several priorities, we're still determining what the actual value of this first or this second phase of the program will entail. And I believe it's M&W. It's not listed on there, but it's M&W. Pet tunnel repairs. This is the tunnel that comes out of the CTA station. If you've traveled to O'Hare through the CTA during heavy rains and snow, you'll see leakage into these pet tunnels. We're going to give them a refresh and update, even ahead of the renovation or the replacement of Terminal 2. We anticipate an advertisement third quarter of 2019. Construction value 25 to 30 million. M&W as well. BC Tunnel. This is the Visco Tunnel from United, from the B gates to the C gates. We are currently finalizing the design of this, of the repairs to this facility. We'll still maintain the neon lights that it's famous for. We don't anticipate very many architectural alterations to that facility. It'll still maintain the same look. It's M&W. We anticipate an advertisement of third quarter of 2019. The construction value is 20 to 25 million. Runway 4 right, 22 left rehab. This is a primary departure runway, so it's in need of repair. It's phased so that we can leverage the opening of Ninth Center and our interim flight by it. So we're eagerly anticipating the advertisement and award of the renovation. So it's currently advertised for the fourth quarter of 2019. Construction value of 20 to 25, and I don't believe it's on there. I believe it's going to be M&W. Lower level utility and pavement reconstruction. This is another project that's of high priority. It's aimed at improving the utilities in and around Terminal 1, 2, and 3 in advance of the renovation or redevelopment of the Terminal 2 area. Anticipated advertisement date first quarter of 2020, 25 to 30 million is our anticipated construction value, and I believe it's also M&W. Replacement of rotunda air handling units. There's language in the lead architect selection or the procurement that we anticipate we will maintain the integrity of the existing rotunda. So in advance of that, we'll replace the air handling units that are much needed. That rotunda is in need of major repair. So there are several projects that are slated at improving that the rotunda, even in advance of the redevelopment of Terminal 2. The anticipated construction advertisement is first quarter of 2020. Estimated construction value 12 to 14 million, and it is an M&W. Elevated parking structure repairs. As part of this first phase, we only funded the needed repairs to get us to 15 years. Once we understand what Uber, Lyft, and autonomous vehicles are going to do to the roadway traffic in and around the airport, we'll determine what the ultimate fate of the structure will be, whether we'll need to redevelop or build something else in its place. Anticipated construction advertisement first quarter of 2020, and then estimated construction value 20 to 25. That's also an M&W project. All right, 22 rehab. Actually, this is the same project as the previous one. Some of the MBI. There we go. It's slated for an MBI project right here. Midway Capital Improvement Program. It's much smaller than O'Hare. Midway in any given year does about 20 to 25 million in improvements. Airfield terminal. Currently, they're undertaking the Midway Modernization Program, and that program is aimed at improving the passenger experience. So there's three components to that, to their modernization. It's the concessions redevelopment program, the passenger security checkpoint, the bridge over Cicero from the parking garage to the terminals, and the parking garage expansion over the CTA rail yard. And so all three of those projects are currently in construction. This project is for pavement improvements in and around the terminals. Goals to be determined. In anticipated second quarter of 2019, construction advertisement, and then the estimated construction value is 10 to 20 million. Term contracts. These are for both O'Hare and Midway. These contracts are series of either concrete or asphalt repairs for our airfield, both at O'Hare and Midway. AIRSIDE concrete pavement and ramp replacement and concrete crushing. This is a term contract. The majority of these term contracts help us maintain our airfield certification. So in advance of our yearly airfield certification inspection, we'll perform a series of improvements in order to remain compliant for the year. It was advertised in January, early this year. Bid opening was the 15th, estimated construction value 90 to 100 million. Airport maintenance and repair term contract. This is an anticipated advertisement date of second quarter of 2019. The contract value is $4 to $5 million per year. They believe this is a 5-year. For the most part, all our term contracts are 5 years. It's an M&W rental of a series of different types of equipment, as illustrated in the slide. Rubber removal term contract. Again, this is a 5-year. This is also a year that making sure that we maintain our current FAA certification. So we'll remove the rubber on the runways and taxiways where needed. It's anticipated advertisement date of second quarter of 2019, and the estimated value is $2 to $3 million. We're showing M&W requirement. Asphalt patching and overlay term contract. Again, this project is for patching and overlay in and around the airfield, and it's in response to our FAA yearly FAA certification inspection. M&W component. Anticipated advertisement date of second quarter of 2019, and we have yet to set the contract value. It's a 5-year term. And that is it for the presentation. Any questions?
Hey, Alex, can I just ask for confirmation on one thing that you said? On the slide that says City Unveils, on the slide that says City Unveils 5 potential design concepts. Yeah, that one there. You had mentioned that one of the 4 remaining vendors was going to get some additional business, and what was that? What will one of those for? Sorry, was it the 2 satellites or something else?
Yeah, 2 satellites.
The 2 satellites. So
Studio RD will be the lead designer on the Global Concourse Global Terminal, highlighted here in green. And then the second successful candidate will